Uh, Beautiful. So, ladies, thank you for coming on to the chat tonight. Welcome to week 3 of the 90-day challenge. Hopefully, you've all had a really great week. Now, I wanted to introduce to you Coach Kaya. So, Kaya and myself, we worked on another project together for dog coaching for the sisterhood. We put together how many weeks was it? 18, 19-week program? 17-week program. And basically, it was all about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, all geared towards mental health. And it was a beast of a project, absolute beast of a project that kind of didn't go so well in the end, did it? Unfortunately.
No. We ended up shutting the sisterhood about 3 months now, and Black Dog Coaching across the board closes its doors this month.
So the whole business is...
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We'll talk about that later, but that's okay. Either way, so Kaya is basically branching out on her own now. She's doing her NLP stuff. So NLP is really massive. It's become really mainstream at the moment. And I guess a lot of people may know about it, may not know about it, never heard about it. But ultimately, there's a lot of mindset shifting that's involved in terms of going on this journey and making sure that you understand how to, I guess, have the tools in your mind, within your language, and the way that you coordinate your thoughts, your feelings, your actions towards getting from point A to point B. So Kaya, I'm going to let you take over from here. Introduce yourself, what you do, and we'll get stuck into it.
Awesome. Hey ladies, so as you all know, my name's Kaya. I'm a mum of 2 and decided to branch out into the mental health space and start to coach women per se. I very quickly learned when I started at MLM and affiliate marketing that there were too many women out there that didn't back themselves enough because they held on to all their baggage. Instead of lovingly releasing it and letting it go to step into their authentic selves, I really, really needed to put myself in amongst you all and really show you that there was a different way. So I myself have struggled with mental health. I was diagnosed with borderline personality, depression, anxiety, so on and so forth, and I haven't been medicating now for 5 years, and I've been using these tools to really help give myself perspective and reframe all the negative shit that I used to tell myself, that I used to believe, to now reprogramming those thoughts into something that's actually going to serve me to reach my authentic self and my best purpose. And I really think I found that now in what I do. So at the moment, I coach solely women to empower themselves through techniques of NLP. I put together a little slideshow for you ladies to kind of give you a rundown of what NLP is and how we can use that to really become disciplined and stay focused on your self-development journey and your fitness and health and nutrition, what have you. So I'm just going to share my screen.
I've just made you host as well, Kaya. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. There we go.
Oh, is it gonna let me do? I'm just gonna start. So I wrote this up, ladies. This is called Conscious Mind, and if you can relate to any of this, I would really, really love for you to pop your questions or pop your, relate into the chat box. But I'm going to go through this with you. So conscious mind. What is neuro-linguistic programming? NLP is a psychological approach that involves analyzing strategies used by individuals and applying them to each personal goal. It relates through thoughts, language, and patterns of behavior learned through experience or specific outcomes. So basically, whatever your brain or whatever you think about a situation is how that's really going to impact your experience with that. So if you have a belief system that I can't work out because I've never been fit, then that is going to be your mentality and you're never going to get off the couch. So what we want to do is reframe those and reprogram that belief pattern into something that's actually going to fully serve you to the best of your ability, so you can get fit, you can get healthy, and you can focus on that. NLP is broken up into 3 specific parts, right? So the neuro is your nervous system. It's talking in reality through your 5 senses. So every time you remember something, have a memory, it is linked up through these neuro pathways. Every time you see something, it'll trigger something else in your brain, and it'll stagger it back, and you will have memories or specific feelings of experiences, and your brain will tell you that's exactly how you should be feeling in that minute. When in reality, you're safe, you're fine, you don't have anything to worry about. Your brain is just playing a trick on you. And a fun fact in that, ladies, and if you want to write this down, please do, but our brain cannot tell the difference between what we tell it is real and what is actually happening. So for people that live in with PTSD, this rings true very much so. They cannot separate between reality and what is actually in memory. So that's your neuro side. Your linguistic side is becoming aware of how we communicate with others and ourselves. So what do we tell ourselves? What do we look at? Do we compare? What are the things that we do, or the smells or the sounds that we're hearing every time we tell ourselves that we can or we can't do something? What are these triggers when we're speaking with somebody else? So it's the conscious language that we use that really depicts our programming, which I'll go into next. Programming is an understanding of our mind, okay? So if you can think of our mind like a computer, everything inside our mind is software. We're either downloading or uploading things every single time we do something. So it's being stored. Now, it's really important that we pay attention to what it is that we're storing in there, because a lot of the time it is negative stuff that isn't going to serve us, and it's old past patterns. And the reason that they're re-looping is because we cannot reframe exactly what is happening in our brain for us at that point. So when it comes to programming, our behaviors, right, are all triggered by our thoughts, but it's triggered by our language. So it's super important that we're paying attention to exactly what we're telling ourselves, what we're believing, what we're hearing and letting in from other people, because this all really hones in on home. And if we don't have the tools and we don't know how to bring in the tools to start using them to deflect this stuff, then we are going to start taking that on as gospel. So we, like I say, using specific tools and techniques to reprogram, upgrade, and install software for optimal performance.
Kaya, can I ask you quickly, with your mic, you want to try with your mic? It's just a little bit fuzzy. You can sort of
I'm going to let me see if I can.
The mic will bring it in a bit clearer for the sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me
just because it's a lot, it's a lot of good info to ingest, but
you're not hearing it.
You can, like for me, I'm fine. Can you girls hear it okay? You can hear it okay, or it could be a bit clearer?
Okay, or
I find it hard to hear properly.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let me just turn this on. Okay, can you guys hear me right now, or is that a bit better?
Are you on the phone or laptop?
I'm on my headphones now.
I'm struggling to hear as well. It's really muffled.
Can you guys hear me a bit better now?
Should be. Yeah, that might be a bit better. With your headphone settings, do you know?
I've changed from my headphones too. I'm now using my webcam mic.
I think that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's all right. Keep kicking on.
Hang on. Is that better there?
Oh,
That's better for me.
Yep.
Okay,
Hang on. Just
you
talk
guys
for
hear
a
me
bit.
better?
Talk for a bit.
All right, let me get back to this. How does NLP relate to our health and fitness? What is your mindset towards your health and fitness? Do you have a start? Do you have an endpoint? Do you know how to set your goals around what it is you want to do? And my biggest question across everything, right? My biggest question is, what is your why? Do you have a why? Because if you don't, no matter what you do to put into place, ladies, it's not going to stick, because you have nothing anchoring you to your endpoint. There is nothing that's holding you to your endpoint to push you to get there. So we need to figure out our why. Okay. We also need to figure out if our why is going to be big enough to get us out of bed, to get us to the gym, to make sure that we're not falling off our nutrition program if we really want to get to where we're going. This all plays a huge role in our individual programming and how you effectively or ineffectively get things done. If you can establish a solid ground basis, again, with your why, your start point, your end point, and really reframing your mindset around fitness and health, if we can establish that, we can start to reprogram effectively. My biggest, oh, okay, 2 seconds. This isn't letting me go across. There we go. How do we start to become conscious of the decisions that we are making? Okay. How we do one thing is how we do everything, ladies. And I want to start this slide by saying that and not ending with that quote, because this applies to everything, not just your fitness, not just your health, but your mindset and what we do every single day. If you are the kind of person that hits snooze on their alarm once or twice a week, I can guarantee that you're going to hit it at some point that you shouldn't be hitting that snooze button. If you are telling yourself that you can have an extra piece of cake because you've done really well, how we do one thing is how we do everything. We're going to find the excuse later on to do something else that we're not supposed to be doing that's going to send us backwards. So it's about reprogramming. Start by taking a moment to acknowledge what our body is actually telling us. Because a lot of the time, our minds and our bodies don't marry. They don't see eye to eye. And that's because we need to reprogram our mindset to something that's going to actually serve us. In that moment of acknowledgement, we need to gain clarity about what it is that we're really feeling. Are we scared? Are we anxious? It's not that we don't want to do the thing, because we've put in place to do it. There's something inside us, there's an underlying issue that's bringing that up for you. So it's super important that when we acknowledge this, that we're getting clear about what it is that we're really feeling. And we need to be clear about the action that we take after that. So like I say, for example, if you're struggling with your nutrition and you're doing really well all through the week, you've done your meal prep, you've stayed on track, you've gone to the gym, you've done everything that you should be doing, and then you get to the weekend and it's like, 1 or 2 days will be fine. I'll just have takeaway for dinner tonight, and then tomorrow I'll eat really healthy during the day, and then I'll have some ice cream and all the crap that you shouldn't be having because you've done all the good stuff during the week. If we start to have that mentality, it's going to become fact. It's going to be how we do everything. So we are building that neuro pathway without even realizing it. We are unconsciously making the decision to fail and to learn nothing in the meantime. So if we acknowledge the fact that we're being lazy and it's hard and we are lacking in discipline, then we know where that is and we can go, okay, no, I'm putting the boundary in place now where I don't need, and we need to be very clear about the language we're using, because if we go back to the start, ladies, remember the language patterns that we're using are very important. Get back to basics and back yourself with no. I don't need that. I am committed to myself and I am committed to my journey. Okay, so it's super important that we do this. How do we start? How do we start reprogramming? How do we start rewriting our brains? How do we start getting into the nitty-gritty? I tell you, ladies, it's not easy. You're probably going to feel like you're falling off more times than you're staying on track. But that's a good thing, because every time we fall off the track, it gives us an opportunity to pivot and learn more about ourselves and what we really want and how we can change these things. So I have a client at the moment. She's struggling with her eating. She's struggling with her nutrition. She's doing the gym. She's doing great. But she says to me, Kaya, I can't pick it. I'm not dropping my weight. Every time I get on these scales, the number's not changing. In fact, the number's rising. And I say, why? And she goes, oh, well, you know, I did the meal prep over the weekend and it's been really good. But then I went to work, and in the office, they had cakes, biscuits, soft drinks, and I went, okay, so what did you do? She says, oh, I find it really hard to, you know, say no. And that brings it back to the fact that her discipline just isn't there. So I tell her to journal these things. Journal what happens when you get to the office and you see all of that on the table. How does it make you feel? Does it make you want it because it's sitting there and you need to work on your self-control? Or does it make you feel sick because you know that you should be working on yourself? So whatever it is, the easiest way to keep a track of how you're feeling and what your body is doing in these moments, even when you eat the food, make sure we journal it, because if we feel like crap afterwards, we can go back and reflect and go, okay, donuts make me poo more than I should. Or, okay, that's way too much sugar, I feel really racy. No matter what it is, we can always go back and reflect. So journaling, everything. How the gym makes you feel. What workouts make you feel certain ways. And the reason that we do this is we can start to become clear and conscious about everything that's happening for us instead of living on that autopilot. Find your why, ladies. Remind yourself just exactly why you're doing what you're doing. Make sure that it's big enough to scare you, but also something that you're passionate about. If your why is, I want to get fit, it's not big enough. It's really not, because it's not going to get you out of bed in the morning. That thought, I just want to get fit. Everyone wants to get fit, but it's about the discipline and the motivation that you have behind you to get up and do the damn thing. So get clear about it. Be passionate about your why and make sure it's enough to get you to where you want to be. Because no bodybuilder ever sat there and said, I'm never going to get there. Right? No person, and I tell you this from experience, ladies, I was once 115 kilos. Okay, I am now sitting at a ripe old 49 and I'm 5'1". So if you can imagine just how fantastic 115 kilo looked on me, it was great. And I made every excuse under the sun. I'm always going to stay fat. I'm always going to look like this. My family look like this. My family have told me I'm going to look like this. And it's reaffirmed my belief patterns. But if we can see that we have a goal, we can reframe our language so it's serving. Okay, I haven't lost the weight yet, but I've done this much. And by this time, I'm going to have this much. So we start to get positive about it. Every single negative thought you have, you need to reframe. No matter how draining it gets. This is the part of the programming that we need to find consistency with, because this is the hard yard. Because we are trying to reprogram all our old belief patterns that we used to have, that used to serve us, that we used to be using for coping mechanisms. Whereas now we've grown into an individual that doesn't need all of that. So we need to reprogram, okay? Again, be consistent. Start to form new habits by being consistent and showing up for yourself. The biggest commitment that you can make is to yourself. I think the biggest issue a lot of us have is that we don't trust ourselves. And the reason we don't trust ourselves is because we haven't been able to trust the people around us. Therefore, subconsciously, making us not believe that we can make the decisions that we need to make. We're always second guessing. So if we can get clear about it, if we can put that boundary in place, if we can be consistent and show up for ourselves and actually follow through with the commitment every single day, not just Monday to Friday, but Monday to Sunday, 365. If we can commit to ourselves, we'll reach our point B a lot quicker than what we would if we listen to all the negative stuff that we used to listen to. Okay? We need to find discipline. Do the things you don't want to do. Do something that sucks every single day. One thing. And if that means not hitting your snooze and actually getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, then get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And start to tell yourself from there, I am worthy, I am important, I'm doing this because. Make sure your why is written somewhere that you can see it. If that means it's written on your bedroom mirror, on your bathroom mirror, on your car dashboard, whatever it is that's going to make you remember these things, you need to do that. Whatever's going to sit there and really hone in and make you see that this journey for you is just about you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Then we can start to recenter and put ourselves back on that pedestal that we belong on. So we need to back ourselves. That is my number 2 rule, okay? Commit to yourself and back yourself. If we can do those 2 things, we can move mountains. We can get through the health and fitness journey. We can get through the struggling with our mindset because we now know how to reframe and be consistent. I want to, with Coach Amanda, actually do a part 2 with this so we can dive deeper for you ladies on why we do the things we do and go back to our conditioning so we can really, again, start to reprogram and break down our cycles. Because until we can learn the trigger of this, we'll never get to our endpoint. So ladies, I really just want to say, be patient, be consistent, because it's super important that when you back yourselves like that, you'll get to where you need to be. So start journaling, okay? That is your first step. Journal and reflect. Because if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know your triggers, we can't go back to them and reflect on them. So if the thing for you is you're emotionally low, and that's why you're going to pick up the things that aren't great for you, or why you're not going to the gym, or why you feel like you have to hide away, then we need to figure out that why. Because until we can learn to let that go and really remember that we are the only things that can make the difference, we'll always be sitting where we are. Ladies, I'm going to open up the floor. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any feedback? Is there anything that you guys need to touch on that I can give you some more advice on?
That was good, Kaya. So I took a couple of take-home things from that. I'll share a quick story around sort of my why when I started my PT business.
Yeah, perfect.
So I remember having to get up at 4 a.m. every day, and come sort of the weekends, I was so exhausted that the thought of even socializing was sort of like, oh, I just had no energy for the weekends, pretty much. And I just remember like how painful it was to actually get out of bed at 4 a.m. each morning, getting home at 8 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock, most nights, but also kind of like reminding myself why I was doing it. Obviously, it was, paid the bills, but also it was helping me transform other people's lives. And yeah, it wasn't easy, and it was never easy. Every day I had to remind myself why I was doing it. Some days I wanted to throw in the towel because I had to do what people don't realize is that for me to just get to work at the gym at 6 a.m. was me getting up 2 hours prior, having breakfast, having a shower, having a coffee, doing something for mindset, driving 40 minutes. And that's just to get there. And it was a 2-hour preparation. So it's like overnight success, for example, or, okay, I'll put this in another analogy. When you pay a coach a fee, you're not paying for a qualification they got. You're paying for the years of experience and preparation that has gone into that qualification. So that's one thing, is that it's like that that iceberg in the water. You're only seeing a tip of what really it takes to kind of get from point A to point B. And so anytime you feel like you may want to throw in the towel, or it's all too hard, or I'll just have, a little bit extra chocolate because I was really good, or I deserved it. And here's another thing I wanted to mention too, is just make sure you're not using food as a reward. Right now through this challenge, your food nutrition has to get you from point A to point B. So if a donut doesn't get you from point A to point B, like it may here and there, maybe once a week, once a fortnight, but really think twice about the things you consume as well, because is it the right fuel? Are you putting in like premium fuel, or are you putting in the crap in your body? And it's what drives. What's that?
Oh, we're back. just to add on to what Amanda's saying there, right? Everything we put into our bodies, ladies, 80% of it fuels us. 80% of it. So if you are fueling your bodies with Macca's, Hungry Jack's, donuts, bloody coffee all day, every day, imagine your mindset. If you can imagine all that shit food on one table, on one plate, imagine that in your head. Our clarity, when we eat like that, that is what causes a lot of anxiety and depression. It's not good. So if we can remember that every time we go into our nutrition, and remember, oh, I'll be really good, I'm going to have this, whatever it may be for the day, just remember, what am I really doing here? Because all of these things add up, and you don't want to play this crap inside your head, because that's exactly how your head's going to feel.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Does anyone want to share a bit of their story for how they've been tracking this week, or anything that they can relate to, like what's been said? Girls, feel free. Who wants to go first? Cherie, we'll start with you.
Okay. It definitely hit me when you talk about like rewarding yourself with food. Like if I have like on my fitness pal, if I have like extra calories at the end of the day, pretend like I've still got like 150 calories, like I think what's something bad that I can have to reward myself being good all day. So it resonates with me there. As far as tracking's going, Amanda, after our Zoom the other day, I'm finding it, the calorie intake is fine, but hitting my targets, my fats are just so high, and so I'm having lots of carbs left over, but my fats are in the red. So like I've really got to work on that this week.
Yep, that's okay.
And my downfall is like, as far as food goes, like birthday, it's my partner's birthday tomorrow, so we're like planning to go out. So I have to really, it comes back to the discipline for me, and just reiterating what everyone, especially this Zoom tonight, about what am I here for, and what do my why. So hopefully I can be really strong tomorrow, but it's hard, but every day's a new day, and you just have to keep jumping back on.
Yep. Awesome.
So I have a question for you, Cherie. When you think, okay, I've got X amount of calories left over, I'm going to go and grab something bad because it's a quick fix.
Yeah.
What is the story behind that? What is the story you tell yourself behind that to make that okay? In your mind, that is.
I don't know, like maybe I just think I deserve it for being good, or it's just one of those bad habits that I need to really like knock on the head. Like I'm a mother of 4, and I'm just like, geez, I've worked hard today with the kids, or like this is my wind down time. That's my time. Someone might be like, my wind down time's 10 minutes for the book or whatever. Mine's like, give me the whole box of biscuits and I'll be right back. So it's definitely discipline for me.
I'm hearing you. See, and I love that. That's awareness. If you can think about, okay, I'm doing this, But what's the excuse I'm allowing myself to go through this day?
And then I have guilt because I schedule my week is 4 days at the gym, which is 3 hours training for me, which is a lot of hard work. And the even more hard work just getting that time away from my kids. So when I go and eat like that, or I have these little binges and stuff, then it's that, you know, toxic cycle of like, okay, I talk myself into it and now I feel like shit. So yeah, it's just a wild cycle.
Yeah, awesome. We've got about 8 minutes left, so we'll quickly move on, but thanks for sharing that, Cherie.
That was awesome.
No worries.
We can have a quick chat on the DMs about your fats. So you can sort of let me know
Yeah.
voice messages what's happening with food, and then I might be able to find a bit of a solution for you. All right, we'll
Okay,
move
cool.
on. Nat, so can you relate to anything that Kaya has said or that has been mentioned tonight?
Yes, I was naughty today and I had ice cream,
Yeah,
even though it was cold.
that's all right. But how's the
But-
rest of the week been otherwise?
It's been pretty good since you told me them snack stuff. I have been doing really good with that,
Yeah,
but I haven't been meeting my points. I still don't really eat much at night. I'll probably eat more during the day than what I do at night because
Yep.
I just get so tired from work.
yep. All right,
Yeah.
cool, beautiful. Anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it. Awesome. No worries. We'll move on. Margie,
Yeah.
how's the week
Um,
going?
Yeah, okay.
Not too
I have a problem. I have a problem about counting calories. That's my biggest problem. I've always had. Always counted calories. I'm up to 1,000 nearly a day, so I think I'm doing okay, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's still
how I'm
definitely
going.
too low. Absolutely too low. Women across the board as a minimum on average, and it's not for everyone, but on average, minimum 1,600 calories a day. And that's not set in concrete for everyone. But I guess if you really want, I mean, in order to get like a tailored kind of meal plan, if you're really sort of unsure where to start, if you're a person that undereats, then you could
Yeah.
look at seeing a dietitian.
Mhm.
Okay.
I have, babe, but I don't know what's in my brain that keeps telling me that I don't need to eat.
Yep.
Okay.
Another friend of mine that I'm going to be bringing on one of these chats is so Chelsea, and she's part of the Eating Disorders Queensland. So she had an eating disorder growing up, was really overweight, lost all this weight, and so she works with that that community to help people understand and overcome eating disorders. So I really think that that's going to be a valuable chat for you guys as well, just from touching on the psychology behind why it happens.
Yeah.
And I guess why people punish themselves essentially when it comes to their relationship with food. It's very, very common though. That's the thing. It's so common. And it's very common within the fitness industry. So a lot of these, I was having this conversation with a girlfriend of mine today, that a lot of people that are, you know, the perfect fitness model that you see on Instagram, a lot of them have eating disorders. So whilst they are projecting this healthy image, they actually are not that healthy mentally away from the camera. So there's a lot of stuff going on as to why they obsess over their image. So I think it's a fine line when it comes to your health and fitness journey, trying to find that balance and that center around why you do it and making it a very rewarding process, not
Exactly. Not a punishment.
yeah. So yeah. Anything else that you wanted to add?
No, babe.
Nah, all good. All right. And Fiona, are you right to talk? Because I know you're at the footy.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just driving home actually
Oh,
from the other side of Brisbane. Fun for Sunday night.
how funny.
Excellent.
I had a better week this week. I really watch my choices and why. But yeah, I've got the comfort food thing too. Like the reward and comfort. Like it's so cold, I deserve this. I'm gonna have this. But is that really a bad thing?
If you're trying to stay consistent, I'll be honest, yes.
Okay.
Because what we want to do is create neuro pathways that end up at our endpoint. So if we're allowing these excuses to pop in every now and again, how we do one thing is how we do everything. We're going to let these excuses pop in every single time. And that's going to be our new autopilot. So while we're on the journey of trying to be disciplined and really being consistent, we have to stay crucial in what we do so we can start to build those healthy neuro pathways. So then that becomes autopilot. So then when you do have something that's comfort food, you don't beat yourself up about it later on, and you're not overeating it. To be like, oh, I've eaten this now. This is just so good. It's amazing. I can't stop. Or, okay,
Yeah, no, I
I've tried
don't
this and I'm
overeat. I don't overeat it. I really enjoy it, and I don't really pay out on myself afterwards either. I just really enjoy it. It's just at the moment when I want results, it's not the best choice.
Yeah, if you are trying to become consistent and reach an endpoint, that it is crucial that we stick to what we need to stick to so we can create positive neuro pathways to get us where we need to be. Instead of the autopilot and going, okay, I'm just gonna, this is fine for this time, but then you'll find something else in your life that you're making excuses for too, just to allow it in.
So interesting, the relationship that we have with food.
I agree.
So interesting.
Yeah,
I agree.
and a lot of it has to do with the way we're brought up, and you know, it's all about that socializing around the table and everything. Every celebration involves some form of food and amounts, and how we're taught that, you know, especially in a European family, more food is better. So
Yes.
yeah, and
And when you hurt yourself as a kid, mum gives you a nice biscuit or a piece of chocolate. You feel good.
I'm Kiwi and Italian. I'm hearing you.
Anyway, just quickly, so this is going to pretty much wrap up in just under a minute. So I think what we'll do is I'm definitely going to put this recording back in the group if you guys want to listen back on that, which I suggest that you do to reinforce things that you have learned tonight. Kaya, thank you so much for coming on. I'll debrief with you in just a moment. Ladies, if you have any questions for Kaya, feel free to pop them in the group and I'll pass them on to Kaya. She can come back to you with any responses. And I'm going to put a little bit of homework in the group tonight as well. So thank you so much for jumping on. Kaya, we will work out when you're going to come back on.
Yeah, for sure.
In the next group.
I really want to get to the bottom of your guys' conditions and